I speak to so many of you on a day-to-day basis who are just so scared of stepping out your comfort zone with these thoughts of like, what if it fails? And the thing I keep telling people repeatedly is stop being so pessimistic. You don't go around driving and before you get in the car to go somewhere thinking, oh my God, what if I crash? On the flip side to that, what if it works? Guys, look, I've asked myself both of these questions more times than I can count, especially the first time I ever invested in a mentorship. I had no money. I could not afford to invest. I had no clients, and my backup plan was to go back to work in the solicitors, which to be honest wasn't really the end of the world. Well, to me it was, but I didn't want to do another day there. But I did just have a gut feeling that if I didn't try, at least then I would regret it for the rest of my life. So it was June 2020, right before my 26th birthday. So I was 25. We'd just gone into lockdown and I'd already taken a huge risk 9 months before that. I quit my corporate job to go all in on my P business. I had a mortgage, I had a car on finance, and now suddenly I had zero income, which meant putting the house on a mortgage holiday and pausing the car payment. I wasn't entitled to any of that support or those loans due to the fact that I'd only been self-employed for 9 months and I had no books. The only money that was coming in was from Universal Credit, literally a few £100 a month. And I remember sitting there thinking, wow, like, is this really how it ends for me? Like, I'd made this big move, back myself, and now I'm sat here not even getting furlough money, whilst all of my mates were living it up off work and getting paid. And just to add to the madness, during this time, my old manager from the solicitors actually texted me and they were rushed off their feet because the property market was booming. And he said to me, you know, do you want your old job back? And honestly, that message was one of those moments where in life you find yourself at a crossroads, because it was a real defining moment for me. This was my first taste of entrepreneurship and one of the biggest decisions I had to make in my life. And I'd say it was an even bigger decision than the decision to quit my job, because it was a moment where I needed to look at myself in the mirror and ask myself, like, what are you made of? Every single doubt I had going through my mind, like, what if this online thing doesn't work? What if I've wasted the money? What if I've made a massive mistake? But I also remember thinking as well, like, surely this can't be how my story ends, like just going back to work, pretending that none of this last 9 months has ever happened. But I made the choice anyway. I couldn't afford to invest at all, but I found this mentorship to help me take my PT business online. And I thought to myself, if I can just sign 10 online clients, then I'll match what I earn in my old job. So I gave myself a target of 3 months. That was the deal. The worst case scenario would be that I rent my house out and I move back in with my mum. I'd go back to my old job if I had to, because I knew it would still be there. And at the end of the day, it was just like 3k invested in the context of life. I would have made it back within a couple of months at least, and I would have tried and at least learned some stuff along the way. But that regret of not trying would have eaten me alive for the rest of my life. And I always would have thought, what if? And it took me about 2.5 months to sign one single client, not 10, not 5, one. And that client signed up for £80 a month. And when I did, it felt like the best moment in the world. And it wasn't because of the money, definitely not because of the money, because it was hardly anything. But I knew I was making progress. And that one client was proof that I wasn't delusional, that it was working and that I was moving in the right direction. And that business, my online coaching business, it did fail in the end. Well, I closed it down. Let's be honest, I don't really believe in failure, because that chapter led me to sales and it led me to remote closing and to freedom. It was the stepping stone that got me out of the system for good. And I am the type of person who would rather say I gave it everything and it didn't work out than I never tried at all because I was scared. Like, guys, like, imagine getting to your deathbed and not chasing your dreams because you were scared. It's absolute madness to me. So if you're sat right now asking yourself, what if it fails? Ask yourself the better question, but what if it works? And what if it works out better than you ever imagined? Because that's the one thing that changes your life. And you'll never know unless you bet on yourself unless you try. So if you want to learn a little bit more about how remote sales works and you're interested in getting started and you know that you're done with the 9-5, then book a call at the link below, speak with one of my team, and we'd be happy to help.